I just got back from Luton Town 0, Norwich 1. My initial thoughts. I thought we were all right in the second half. It was definitely the best performance I've seen at Kenilworth Road from Luton Town since that Sunderland game that we lost. But there's one big caveat, and that is that Norwich were one of the worst teams I've seen at Kenilworth Road all season. A little stat to start off: based on 3 points for a win, Edwards has the worst points per game of any manager in their first 102 games. That is the worst figure of any manager in the history of Luton Town. 1.18 points per game. Yes, there's the caveat that was, half of his games were in the Premier League. But remember, we're a team that's come down from the Premier League to the Championship. And right now, we're doing worse than when we came up. Another stat: no Luton manager has won fewer games in that time period of 102 games. And that's 32 wins in 102 games. And other than Mick Harford's first stint and Lenny Lawrence's initial time at Luton Town, no team has scored fewer goals than Rob Edwards' Luton Town. But enough about that. Onto the game. It was an interesting game, mainly because of what happened at full time. The game itself, the first half, was a snooze fest. Norwich started out the traps quite quickly. I thought, oh God, here we go. They're going to race ahead into a lead. But no, they just didn't have that final touch. They didn't have that killing blow. It was mostly Norwich in the first half. Luton had a little go towards the end of the first half, but the second half was really where Luton Town actually had a proper go, I would say. But it's all huff, no actual puff. Chong had a good shot, and that kind of yaboa'd off the bar. For 90s kids like myself, you'll get the reference, because Tony Yeboah, he famously scored a couple of goals that went bing, 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 but they were goals. This one with Chong, it didn't go in, and it's a right old shame. In terms of the passing, it's quite hard to defend how we're passing. A lot of the players, they don't really get on the same wavelength as others, so it's sort of pass, and then, they try and do a defence splitting ball out to the wing, and we saw quite a few times we just ran out of pitch. But then there's also the hoofball. And look, I don't mind direct football. I quite enjoy going back to front really quickly. We did that a lot under Nathan Jones, but the thing is, it was kind of targeted hoofball. Balls played into the channels. The players, the strikers, knew what they were going for, so they would split and run the channel, or you'd have a wide midfielder who would be chasing the ball into the channel. Not really. This time it was Holmes or McGuinness. They'd send a ball straight into the area that Carlton Morris was there and hope that Carlton Morris would win the ball, or Elijah Adebayo. It was all right, I guess. The Norwich goal came from a counter-attack, and I would say it was an avoidable goal. So we were attacking, the Norwich break with the ball, and Nunez, he has a shot from about, I'd say, 25 yards out. It was a P-roller. There wasn't like crazy amounts of power behind it. But again, it's the same shit, different day. Because a player on the edge of the box, free, unmarked, no one around him, and he had a shot, went straight through, and I said it to the people around me, oh, he's going to have a shot here. Lo and behold, shot, goal, and the Kenny did not react well to that. But the biggest issue with this game was the fact we went down and we conceded in the 73rd minute. Rob waits until the 84th minute to make changes. And he brings on 4 players and essentially just every attacking player on the bench, go, 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 just brings all of them on. And I don't know what they're supposed to do. We weren't in the game at that point. In all fairness, Norwich could have had a second. Fortunately, Ashley Barnes fluffed his lines when he was through on goal, and we sort of crumbled. We crumbled. Then it only looked like one team was going to win. And we're out of ideas. I saw the lineup at the beginning and I thought, 4-4-2. Okay. But no, it was once again 3 at the back. Mari Bell, left centre back, and Chong, obviously everyone's favourite left wing back. There were 2 moments where balls came in and Chong was onside, threw on goal, and he just didn't know what to do with it. So he sort of just let it hit him and drop at the keeper's feet. It's a team that's out of ideas. It really is. It was really a shame to see Jordan Clark go off really early in the game. Although I thought Marv Nakamba was good. I think when he's sitting, it doesn't put too much strain on his knees, which is a good thing because obviously he's not the same player that we had before. Maybe he needs a run of games. Who knows? I'm not in the medical department, but providing Marv isn't tasked with charging all over the pitch, then I think he's all right in that position, providing you just have him sit and protect the back 3, which should really be a back 4. The interesting thing came at the end of the game, because the game was mostly a snooze fest. The attendance was announced as 11,800, which is absolute nonsense. I had 5 seats next to me that were completely empty. Ahead of those, there were another 5 seats that were empty. There's no way it was 11,800, regardless of whether you count all the season ticket holders. That's about 6,000 people. I would say there were no more than 9,000 there. Look, fans are voting with their feet, and towards the end of the game, a lot of fans left instead of staying and booing. And there were a lot of boos. There are a lot of shouts of Edwards out. And I agree. I've said it many times. I think Edwards does need to go. Do I think he will go? No. So also at the end, a lot of fans sort of, as they're on their way out, they sort of got involved at the director's box, standing behind it, because that's the way you got to go to get out the stadium. And also along the sides, David Wilkinson and Mick Harford, they went under pretty much sharpish, to not really get involved. Gary Sweet was standing there sort of listening. I don't want to say inciting, but he wasn't doing anything to get out the firing line. I'll just say that. He's heard what the fans think, and to be honest, we haven't seen these scenes for a long time. A real long time. Rob said many post-match interviews ago he doesn't want to become a divisive figure. Well, no one's divided on what they think now. I'm pretty sure 95% of the fan base would like to see him step aside. But the board appear to have other thoughts regarding this. And that's fair. That's fair. They are the board. But they are fans of Luton Town Football Club. And surely with all the teams around us and below us picking up points today, Oxford, since changing manager, they've won 3 on the bounce. Portsmouth had a ridiculously good victory against Swansea. Swansea, who we made look like prime Barcelona. And Portsmouth have just beaten them 4-0. Plymouth came back to claw a draw against Bristol City, another team that we failed to lay a glove on our travels recently. And right now, it's looking like we are sleepwalking into relegation. It's a very, very big concern. To quote Gary Sweet, when we came up from League One to the Championship, he said, relegation to League One would be financially catastrophic. So I wonder, what would relegation to League One be like now with a much bigger wage budget and massive financial commitments for the stadium on the way? Is there anything worse than catastrophic? Under Rob Edwards, the team are directionless, rudderless, and the fans let him know what he thought. And hilariously, I listened to the Three Counties radio with Rob Edwards on my way home. I know Simon Oxley can't pick and choose where he's doing his post-match, but he was interviewing Rob Edwards and there was Yes Sir, I Can Boogie playing in the background. So it sort of gave it a very satirical feel. And the tone from Rob Edwards is that he's not going anywhere. Whatever will be, will be. This is a far cry away from the Rob Edwards against Middlesbrough. It seems he knows he's secure in the job. I don't think the board are going to sack him, especially now that the window has opened. We've had better opportunities to sack him, and the performances have just gotten worse. I've said many times that the home form, while good, was not sustainable. And this is what happens when your luck runs out. There was no 89th and 90th minute winners. Just the luck has run out. And I feel the only way to actually turn this around is for Rob Edwards to stop being so stubborn with his three at the back, or for a new manager to come in. But that's the problem. Who else is going to come in? Because we're not going to take a manager from another club, because we're ethical, i.e. it costs money to do that. But never mind. It's just another game. Don't let football ruin your weekend. Oh, wait, it's not the weekend. I've lost track of what day it even is. Happy New Year to everyone watching. I hope you're all good. I hope you had a lovely Christmas period, a lovely New Year's Eve. New Year's Day, not so great because this football game has had to happen. And I guess we go again, see if we can pick up a point or a win on the road. But unfortunately, it's going to be against QPR, who just smashed Watford 3-1. So, don't know, it looks like it's going to be 10 in a row. But we've also got the little task of Nottingham Forest, who are second in the Premier League, to compete with first. So, don't know. I think we're going for the all-time record of 13 straight consecutive away losses. I guess we'll see what happens. But most importantly, come on, you Hatters.